Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Steele Talkin Sports. I am your host, Jay Steele, and let's get talking. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday. Again, my name is Jay Steele. Thank you for tuning in if you are listening to this. I believe this is episode 5, so I am rolling along. This is pretty cool. Just got off the golf course and got back home and realized, oh shit, there's NBA basketball. Also, there's NHL playoffs going on. And I have been slacking. So I need to get back on here. I need to put some content out. I need to tell the people what to do or don't do. Actually, you probably shouldn't follow any of my picks because I've been on a 2-week, 3-week losing streak. I don't know. But hey, we're still going to talk sports even if we lose on the bets. So I'm back at it again. Had a good day at the golf course with some friends. We hit some good shots. We hit some ugly shots, but we had some fun. The course was great. Thank you to Bryant Park Golf Course. Let's get talking some sports. What do you say? Let's talk some sports.
And here we go.
So first up, let's recap what I talked about last week, even though my picks sucked. Heading back to last week, the 2 play-in games. The Lakers beat the Pelicans 110-106. If you remember, I was on the Pelicans, so that was a loss. And then the Kings beat the hell out of the Warriors 118-94, and I was on the Warriors. So I lost that one too. The next night for the other 2 play-in games on Wednesday, the Sixers did beat the Heat 105-104, but I was on the Heat plus 4.5, so we would have won that bet. Even though that was kind of an ugly game. Honestly, Miami should have won that. The Sixers didn't really look that good. And then the other game, holy hell, Kobe White had a career game in the play-in against the Hawks. He had 42 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. But unfortunately, that was as far as the Bulls went. I did not give a preview on the next 2 play-in games, and I'm probably glad I didn't because I would have been wrong as well. The Heat smashed the Bulls 112-91. That game was over in the first quarter. It was 34-17 after 1, and from what I saw, the Bulls never really made any effort to get back in that game seriously. And then the Pelicans beat the Kings in the final play-in game for the West 105-98. This was ugly at first. The Pelicans kind of had that game in hand and then let the Kings get back into it a number of times. I thought it made it close at the end, but it really wasn't a close game. And I didn't really give any previews for the first round 1 games, which was my bad. But I probably would have been wrong on most of this shit as well. So, but I'll recap it anyway. I'll go through it. On Saturday, 420, smoke them if you got them. The Cavs beat the Magic 97-83. That game was a rock fight. It was ugly. I did watch most of that early on Saturday afternoon. And the Magic looked like a team that was a group of rookies that had never touched the playoffs before. And that first game really, jitters in that first game was it was obvious. So the Cavs took care of that one pretty easily. Donovan Mitchell looked like a guy who was not going to leave Cleveland in the offseason. So that was a good sign for the Cavaliers going into Game 2. The second game that day, the T-Wolves beat the Suns 120-95. I did not get to see any of this, but as I'm looking at the box score, it looks pretty ugly. Durant had 31 for the Suns, but it looks like nobody else decided to show up and play basketball that day. So they took a beating. The Knicks beat the Sixers 111 to 104. I would have gotten that right because I did like New York in that game. This looks like it was a very competitive game all throughout. I see in the first quarter the Knicks were down by 9, and then the second quarter they beat the Sixers 33 to 12. So, I mean, every single quarter is won by a different team. First quarter, Philly 34-25. Second quarter, Knicks 33 to 12. Third quarter, Sixers 36 to 21. Fourth quarter, Knicks 32 to 22. Like, what is going on right there with both teams? I would say that the Knicks is a bit more balanced scoring, 25, 33, 21, and 32. But Philly, like, what were you doing in the second quarter to only put up 12 points? That's awful. You can't win a game like that. I know Embiid looks like he's playing well. I mean, 8 for 22 from the field in that game. That's not very good. But he did make 11 free throws. Did not achieve a double-double, though. But Tobias Harris, like, where are you, dude? 7 points as a starter. Like, what are you doing? You got to help your team out, brother. Down for the Knicks. I mean, Josh Hart, 22 points, 13 boards. That guy is everywhere. Jalen Brunson, only 22 points, but he had 7 boards and 7 assists. He also 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Dante DiVincenzo, only 8 points, decided not to show up the other day. So I look for him to have a good bounce back in game 2. Oops, sorry, I've got a little light issue. Light's probably going dead. Turn that off. So yeah, great win by New York. They needed that. This Knicks team always has issues in the playoffs of not showing up. And Philly is kind of like that big brother to a lot of teams in this Eastern Conference where, like Philly is the 7 seed, but if you don't play their game, they will make a run and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. So, great job by New York getting that first win in Game 1. In the final game on Saturday, the Nuggets beat the Lakers 114 to 103. This was actually the most competitive game on Saturday, at least from what I'm looking at it. I know the Sixers Knicks looks like it was back and forth, but this one was pretty competitive. Besides the third quarter being out of hand, the Nuggets win in the third quarter 32 to 18. 32 to 18. This was a really good game. Davis and LeBron both had excellent games. Jokic had an excellent game. This was like a superstar game where everybody gets the shots and prime time on TNT, late night on Saturday. This was a good game. I would say the thing that probably hurt the Lakers was D'Angelo Russell shooting 1 for 9 from the 3-point line. That was the killer. I mean, if he just doesn't take 3 or 4 of those and passes the ball and they get a couple of buckets, this is a 1-possession game. On the other hand, everybody for Denver in double figures. Gordon and Caldwell Pope only get 12, but you get 19 out of Porter, 32 out of Jokic, and 22 out of Murray. Dude, you're going to win a lot of games if you do that, and especially when Jokic gets 32, 12, and 7. It's a great game. Murray had 10 assists. Great game by the Nuggets. I know LA wanted that so bad after getting swept by them last year. But great job by Denver to get out on the right foot. On Sunday, we had the Celtics beat the hell out of the Heat, 114 to 94. The Clippers beat the Mavericks, 109 to 97. That game was over before it even started. Look, I mean, the Mavericks only scored 8 points in the second quarter. I mean, what are we doing? Jesus, guys. Not looking good on my Mavericks to win the finals right now. down 1-0. So they need to pick it up. The Bucks handled the Pacers without Giannis. They looked impressive. Damian Lillard had a nuclear first half and then just decided not to play or shoot the ball in the second half. I don't know how he still only ended up with 35 points, but whatever. Great game. Let's see if they can do it again in game 2. And then last night, finally, we got a close game that was a nail-biter in the Pelicans and the Thunder. That was impressive. Brandon Ingram showed up. Valanciunas for New Orleans had 13 points and 20 rebounds. That dude is a monster. I don't think the Thunder have the size to compete with him, but if they can make him move around to tire him out, I think they can continue to get by in this series. But the Thunder look good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP, most likely. He looked really good in that game. Chet Holmgren looked good. Both of the Jalen Williams brothers balled out. So just like I said last week, that Oklahoma City Thunder team is for real. So that recaps the first game for all 8 NBA playoff series. Weirdly enough, tonight on Monday, there's only 3 games. So I'm going to break down these 3 games, and then I will make picks for the 3 games tomorrow. And then I'll kind of do like an overview of each series, and I'll look at the bracket for the NBA. And then I'm going to do the same for the NHL playoffs. I know I haven't talked any hockey yet, but the playoffs are here. So there's more interest out there. I want to do a little hockey segment. So after I get done with this NBA segment, I'm going to do the hockey in a few minutes. So first up tonight at 7 p.m., we've got the Magic at the Cavaliers again. Cleveland is -5.5, and the total is 203.5. Yeah, I would be looking to take the under, just because it's 20 points off of what the 2 teams scored 2 days ago. But also you could see both teams really finding their groove in this second game. Obviously, the Magic have been in Cleveland for a number of days now. They'll be much more adjusted to their environment and possibly the arena. So I would look for the Magic to have a better shooting game. Now, are they going to win the game? I don't really know. I was high on this Magic team coming in to the playoffs. Obviously, maybe Cleveland has their number, and it's a team that the Magic just don't match up well against, because they just didn't look good the other day. I mean, Paolo Banchero was about the only thing the Magic had going for him, and even he was struggling at times. So, I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to pick. Let's see how these teams performed in the regular season. They split 2 games. So yeah, I'm gonna lean toward the home team tonight. I'm gonna go with the Cavaliers minus the 5.5. If you could get a 4.5 out there, I'd probably rather like that. I don't know. Winning by 2 3-pointers is a lot in the NBA, but if the Magic just don't show up, then it could easily be a rout again. So Cleveland minus 5.5. In the next game, we have the 76ers at the Knicks. The Knicks are also favored minus 5.5, and the total is 204.5. Definitely look to play the over in that total. These 2 teams can score. Obviously, the previous game would have been 5 or 10 points over this number. And New York won by 7 in the previous game, so that would also cover this number. For me, I just see the Knicks continuing to do what they do in the Garden. They're 27-14 at home this year. Add one more onto that with the game the other night, so 28-14. Embiid kind of landed funny in one of those highlights. If you go back and watch, he tried to throw an alley-oop off of the backboard, and he grabbed it himself and tried to dunk it. And when he landed on his left knee, he immediately braced it. And so I just don't think he's 100%. That reason alone, I think this number is too short. If he's not 100%, this number should be 7.5. So give me the New York Knicks. Also look for Jalen Brunson to have a bigger game, say 30 plus. And DiVincenzo only had 8 points the other day. I look for him to have a big game, possibly 3-4 plus 3-pointers made. So that would be a good thing to look for on DraftKings is say like Brunson 30 plus points, the Knicks minus 5.5, and DiVincenzo over 3.5 threes. Boom, boom. In the last game tonight, 10 o'clock on TNT, the Lakers and the Nuggets. Denver is minus 7.5, and the total is 223.5. 20 points higher than the other two games. Definitely going to be some scoring in this game. Both teams can shoot with a lot of different players on the court. So I would not feel bad taking the over in that. I actually like the Lakers in this spot. I like the plus 7.5. I don't know if they can win the game, but I definitely think they keep it competitive and keep this close. And if they're within 10, LeBron is going to get it down to 5. So, I like the Lakers plus 7.5. If you could even get it up to 8.5, I would like that better. But I definitely like the Lakers at that plus 8.5 number. Also, I think that if you watch the way the Lakers played in that game, it looked like they were playing a feel you out process. That like, we're going to do some weird stuff on offense and defense this game to throw you off because we're trying to see your game plan. And then LeBron's team is really going to get serious in game 2. I know it sounds dumb. It's like they're giving away a game essentially, or like they're the Lakers are playing with the wrong game plan in game 1 to learn what Denver is doing more than try to really win the game, if that makes sense. It's like we're going to use this backwards policy of how we go about playing this game. If we win, great. It's kind of a surprise. But really, it was a learning process, learning about Denver. I don't like hearing that's how they approached the game, but I mean, if that's what you want to do in the playoffs and kind of give Denver, arguably the best team in the league, a free game in the first series, be my guest. But I think that's the wrong way to play it. I think the Lakers should have come out with their best game plan, their best plays, their best rotations, and tried to make a statement in game 1 and legit win that game. But it kind of looked like they had opposite ideas. But I do like the Lakers in game 2. Plus the 7.5. Maybe they win the game. You sprinkle the money line at plus 230, but definitely the plus 7.5. I think they keep it close. So for tonight, we've got Cleveland minus 5.5, New York minus 5.5, and LA plus 7.5. Move on to Tuesday, April 23rd. We've got the Phoenix Suns at the Timberwolves. Minnesota is favored minus 3.5, and the total is 212.5. I think I have overvalued the Phoenix Suns. I think they're much better at home than they are away. And this team is just not all that good. Like, Durant is good, great. Devin Booker is great. Bradley Beal is certainly above average from what he had been in previous years. When I've watched the games, I've been impressed at Bradley Beal's involvement in the offense and his execution. I didn't know he was as good of a shooter as he has shown this season, but for whatever reason, the three guys on the court can play so well, and they just don't get anything else out of it. The other guys on the court, so it's one of those situations for me where I just think that the Suns are too big three loaded, if you will. That their big three demand so much share of the offense that the other two guys that have to be on the court aren't that good. And I like I like Minnesota more and more the more games that they win. So give me Minnesota minus 3.5. Also, the total 212.5. I'd play the over. I'd say Minnesota wins that. I'd say Minnesota puts up another 115 to 120. And so if they put up 115, you're only asking for 100 from the Suns. I think that's a good bet. I'd play the over 212. At 8:30, so we're gonna have kind of an overlap with all three of these games tonight. The first game will not be over by the time the Pacers and Bucks start at 8:30, and then the Pacers and Bucks will not be over by the time the Mavs and Clippers start at 10 o'clock. So we'll have some overlap here. But 8:30 on NBA TV, we've got the Pacers and the Bucks. Milwaukee minus 1.5. This is interesting that Milwaukee is favored now. When 2 days ago the Pacers were favored by this number, and the Bucks won easily. So this is interesting. This is flipped. Giannis will not play in this game again. It says his estimated return date is tomorrow, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that he's got a chance to play in this series, but it says status GTD. I guess that's game to game, but no, I don't know. What does it say? Yeah, it just says out. He won't be playing this game, but it says his estimated return date is April 23rd, tomorrow, which I don't believe that. But either way, he's not playing. But I was on the Pacers 2 days ago. I'm going to do it again, reluctantly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole fear the deer thing, I don't really think there's a need to fear any deer in Milwaukee. They're not that good without Giannis, but I will take a leap of faith on the Pacers tonight. The plus 1.5, you might as well just take the money line and take the total over 222.5. Neither of these teams play defense, so you can guarantee there'll be points scored and fouls committed. So combo that together, maybe Pacers and the over for tomorrow night. And then at 10 o'clock on TNT, we've got the Mavericks and the Clippers playing game 2. Dallas is favored again, minus 2.5. Ugh. This is my team. This is my team to win the title. I like Dallas and I like Oklahoma City. And I know it's only one game and they're only down 1-0 in the series, but the Mavs look pretty bad. I just don't know what they were doing shooting the ball, and James Harden had one of those games where he decides to show up and shoot the ball, and he shot the ball really well. Paul George played well. Even Russell Westbrook played well. So they showed up without Kawhi on the court. Oh, pause. Wait 1 second. I got the oven going off. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get out of the Mavericks and the Clippers, but I'm going to ride that train again with Dallas. I just think Luka and Kyrie, they're going to get it together. PJ Washington's going to have a good game. The Clippers, I don't think they can do it 2 games in a row at home, so give me the Mavs. Minus 2.5. And the total, 217.5, that's definitely going over. So I'm taking a look at the playoff bracket now. I'm going to switch over and share my screen so that I can show you what I'm looking for. Or what I'm looking at, sorry. All right. So here we go. Here's the NBA playoff bracket. Obviously, the Thunder are up 1-0. Clippers, T-Wolves, da-da-da-da. East over here. So in this series right here, the Thunder and the Pelicans, obviously I like the Thunder to advance. The Clippers and the Mavericks, I still like Dallas to advance in this series, but I'm very hesitant now. Here, I am on the T-Wolves, but reluctantly because I don't know how they're going to play when they have to go to Phoenix. Phoenix may find their mojo once they go. Obviously here, it would be a nice story for LeBron, but I'm sorry. You're getting bounced by Jokic. He's just too good. So the conference semis in the West, I'll have the Thunder playing the Mavericks and the Timberwolves playing the Nuggets. Over here in the East, I've got the Celtics advancing against the Heat. And I'm going to say Magic. I think they find a way to turn this around, but it feels sketchy. It feels really sketchy. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to say the Magic. Here, also, I'm going against the grain. I don't like the Bucks. I don't like Doc Rivers, so I have to pick the other team. Give me the Pacers. I think they're going to advance. I don't know how, but I think they're going to. And then here, obviously, my East pick is the Knicks. Ride that train. Give me the Knicks. So in the conference semis in the East, I have the Pacers playing the Knicks, 6-2 matchup, and I've got the Celtics playing the Magic, the 1-5 matchup. So from that series, the Celtics will play the Magic. I have the Celtics smashing the Magic in 4 games. Sweep. And then I would have the Knicks playing the Pacers, and I think the Knicks win that in 6. So you'd have Knicks and Celtics for the Eastern Conference Finals. Over here, the Thunder and Mavericks, I have the Thunder advancing. It kind of sucks that I like both of these teams because one of them is going to get knocked out if they're both right here. But I would rather see the Thunder, I think, get to the finals than the Mavericks. I think they're more the complete team. T-Wolves and Nuggets, I don't think that's any discussion. Give me the Nuggets. So for the West Finals, I have the Nuggets and the Thunder. And again, in the East Finals, the Celtics and the New York Knicks. To advance to the NBA Finals, hear me out. It's all blue and orange. Thunder, Knicks, NBA Finals. That is what I've got. I would be so happy because no matter which team wins, I win money because I got futures on both of them to win the finals. And honestly, I think they're the 2 best complete teams on each side of the bracket. I think the Thunder are the most complete team. They have a stable of young superstars that I think are more prepared than their age and their experience in the NBA. On the other side, I think the Knicks, I talked about it last week, that trio of Hart, Brunson, and DiVincenzo, all former Villanova players together, all now playing for the New York Knicks. I think that is going to propel them to the NBA Finals. That's just my take, but I like that Knicks team. When they get going, man, they are so hot on the court. It's really fun to watch. They look like a college team, and that's the thing that makes the NBA fun is you see a team that plays like a team. So yeah, I've got the Thunder and the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Thunder if that's the matchup that it is. So give me the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA Finals. All right, so we've taken a peek at that. That is what I've got for the NBA. Again, we're going to keep on rolling here. I've got an NHL segment that I'm going to start in just a few minutes. I've got to take this hot pan out of the oven after I let it cool down. So give me just a hot second.
Well, then get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together. And if you gotta take it somewhere, you know? Take it to the shit store and sell it. Or put it in a shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just gotta get it together. Get your shit together.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that little snippet from Morty, from Rick and Morty, while I got the pan out of the oven. Now let's talk some hockey. Let's talk some freaking hockey, eh? You want to get down on a little pucks and sticks, eh? Yeah. All right. So the NHL playoffs have started. We've got the Stanley Cup playoffs going on. I'm going to share the bracket right here. For those of you that are not follow hockey, it's okay. I'll help you out. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Hey, puppy dog, calm down. Sorry about that. Okay, right here. We've already had all but 2 of the series have started. Don't know why. 2 games, Dallas and Vegas and Edmonton and LA chose not to start the series with everybody else. But, no worries. We're going to, cover it anyway. So the first round matchups that have been played over here in the East, the Panthers beat the Lightning in Game 1. Boston demolished the Maple Leafs. Feel so bad for the Maple Leafs. They just can't figure out the playoffs. You guys do know that the season continues after the regular season, Toronto Maple Leafs, right? Like, the playoffs is a real thing. Like, the point is to try to get to the final. You have to show up when you play. Can you please show up in Game 2? Please, Toronto. Your team is so fun to watch. Austin Matthews is a treasure to hockey fans. Can you please let this man get to an Eastern Conference final or a Stanley Cup? He's awesome, but your team sucks. I'm sorry. I like the blue and white of the Maple Leafs so much. I want to see them win, but they just find a way to lose. I know Boston is good. Boston is really freaking good. But come on, Toronto. Pull it together. In the other series, the number 1 team, the Rangers, fuck the Rangers. They beat up on the Capitals. Sorry to all Caps fans out there. And then my team, the Carolina Hurricanes, they got a nice win over the Islanders. This is a team that we've played, it seems like every year in the playoffs. It may not be that way, but it seems that way. And they're a tough matchup, so that was a good Good game one win by the Hurricanes. They play later tonight in game 2, so we'll be previewing that in just a few minutes. Over in the West, this Winnipeg, Colorado game was an absolute shootout. I think it was 7-5 or 7-6 was the final, but there were 6 goals scored in the first period, 3 by each team, in a matter of from the 11-minute mark to the last minute of the first period. So 8 minutes of ice time. They had 6 goals scored. What an insane rally by both teams. That was a shootout. If you had the over 5.5 or 6.5, dude, you blew past that. Great job. And then last night, Vancouver got a nice comeback win against Nashville. I know they were down 2-1 at one point, and they got that W. So great job by Vancouver. Go Couv. All right, so that's your Stanley Cup playoff bracket right there. If I'm going to be honest, I'm just going to do the bracket thing now, and then I'll cover tonight's games and tomorrow's games, pick 'em wise, in just a second. So I'll start with the East. Over here, I've got the Panthers advancing against the Lightning. The Lightning are not the same team as they were last year or the years previous, where they just rolled everybody to the Eastern Conference Finals. That is not going to be this way. So I've got the Panthers advancing to round 2. Also, I would love to pick Toronto and think that Matthews is going to get it, and a series win against Boston, but Boston's a wagon. They're too good. Boston needs another team that plays like them to beat them, and that's going to be in the next round in Florida. In the next matchup, I've got the Rangers advancing against the Capitals. Kind of the same applies as these other 2 matchups. The Rangers are just too loaded. They have too many superstars. I hate the guy, but with the long hair, Zibanejad, he's really freaking good. Artemi Panarin is a super solid winger, centerman. And then you have to keep your eye out for the giant on the ice in Matt Rempe. Dude is 6'9". He's an absolute stud. If you ask him to fight, he's just going to stand there and take blows to the face until he knocks you out. Kind of like Ryan Garcia did Devin Haney. Bam! So, yeah, Rangers going to advance. And then here, my team, obviously the Hurricanes, they're going to advance. And we're going to have to face those dirty, dirty Rangers. Ugh. So, yeah, in round 2, I've got Rangers against Hurricanes. Canes are going to get that done. Yes, sir. Book it. Canes are going to get it done. You're going to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals with the Carolina Hurricanes whooping up on those dirty New York Rangers. Up here in the second round 2 matchup, Florida versus Boston is what I'm picking. I am going to have Boston taking down the Panthers. This is a tough matchup. Both teams played last year in the playoffs, and that was a dogfight. Boston was the number 1 team with the number 1 record last year. They got whooped by Florida, or not whooped, but I think it was a 3-1 series, and then Florida rallied back and won 3 games in a row to take the series. So I know Boston's heartbroken. They're going to come back with a vengeance, and I think they're going to win that game in 4, maybe 5 games. So I think they're gonna put on a show. So then in the Eastern Conference Finals, I've got Boston playing Carolina. And you know what I'm doing. I'm picking the Canes. It's not even a question. Fucking get out of here. Canes all day. Canes over Boston. Canes in the Stanley Cup Final. Let's go. Rod Brind'Amour, best coach in hockey, hands down. I've been hearing that since my dad was watching Brind'Amour play. So, yeah, he's just the best. He's the best coach in hockey, hands down. Over here in the West, we've got Dallas and Vegas. Vegas is the miracle team. Do you realize that the Vegas Golden Knights have missed the playoffs only once since they became an expansion team? In the first season that they were an expansion team, they reached the Stanley Cup playoffs, or the Stanley Cup final. Last year, they fucking won it. This team, don't count them out. I usually like to pick every other Dallas team. You know, you see the sign, Cowboys fans here, all others over there. I'm picking the Mavericks in the NBA, Dallas team. And the Dallas Stars right here, I just can't pick them. I can't pick them. You got to take the Vegas Golden Knights. You can't count that team out. They play dirty. They play scrappy. They can score a ton of goals when they have to. And they're the defending champs. So, yeah, give me the Vegas Golden Knights to advance to round 2. And I'm just gonna pull up some stats right now. I wanna dig a little bit on this Vegas Golden Knights team. So give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, let's look at this playoff schedule from last season. The Vegas Golden Knights. They lost game 1 to Winnipeg, 5-1. And then they rattled off 4 wins. 5-2, 5-4, 4-2, 4-1. In the next series against Edmonton, you know who plays on that team. Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane. It's a stable of who's who in hockey. They beat them 6-4 in game 1. Then they lost 5-1. Turned around and said, hey, we'll beat you 5-1 back. Lost 4-1 in game 4, and then won 2 straight to end the series, 4-3, 5-2. Now, against Dallas last year in the conference finals, Vegas went up 3-0. 4-3 in overtime, 3-2 in overtime, 4-0. And then Dallas rallied and won 2 games, 3-2 and 4-2. You know what Vegas did in game 6? Said, here's a 6-piece nugget, 6-0. See you later. I think that's what Vegas does here. Vegas beats Dallas. I'm going to call it 5 games. Vegas advances, and then they beat the Panthers 4-1 in the Stanley Cup last year. So yeah, I knew there was something about that Vegas run that was really special in the playoffs, and that was what I was looking for. So sorry about the delay, but I had to go hunting on the Vegas Golden Knights. And they have superstars. I mean, Jonathan Marchessault, Jack Eichel, that guy's had a total resurgence in his career since he got out of Buffalo. So, yeah. In the next series, Winnipeg and Colorado. I like the Colorado team, but after watching all those goals get scored, it's kind of hard to say no to Winnipeg, but I'm going to stick with Colorado. In the Vancouver-Nashville series, I like Vancouver. They've got one of the other Hughes brother that's not a New Jersey Devil. So I feel like you've got to take Vancouver and Quinn Hughes. And then in this matchup, I think this is 3 years in a row these teams have played each other in the playoffs, Edmonton and the Kings. Holy crap, are these teams tired of playing each other? This is a bold prediction, and I'm going to say it right now. But Edmonton is going to win this series, and they're going to meet the Carolina Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup final. Mark my words, Edmonton and Carolina. But Edmonton has to win this series. If they lose to the Kings, my pick would be bad, but I would also pick somebody else. I would probably pick Vegas or Colorado. But give me Edmonton to advance and play Vancouver. Edmonton is going to advance against Vancouver to the Western Conference Finals. In the other matchup, we would have Vegas is my pick against Dallas, and they would be playing Colorado. So in this round 2 matchup, Vegas and Colorado, I've got Colorado advancing to the finals. So my Western Conference Finals right here would be Vegas Golden Knights, Edmonton Oilers, with Edmonton winning and advancing to the Stanley Cup. And again, I would have Boston against Carolina in the Eastern Conference Finals, and Carolina advancing to play Edmonton. And you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick the Hurricanes. Hurricanes over Edmonton in 6. Let's go. Book it. Call ya bookie. Or just call DraftKings. All right, so I've done NBA games tonight. I've done NBA playoff bracket. I've done NHL playoff bracket. Now, let's get to some NHL games for tonight, and then let's get the fuck out of here. Know what I'm saying? All right, 7:30 p.m. tonight, ESPN 2. Islanders play the Hurricanes. Hockey is a little bit harder to handicap because of the puck line. If you're familiar with baseball, the puck line works the same as the run line. Basically, same way it does in basketball. You know, if you're minus 1.5, you've got to win by 2. The same applies to hockey, but it's much more difficult to win by 2. Also, on the other end, it's much more difficult to cover a 1.5 spread. So picking hockey is difficult, but if I'm going to do it, here's how I like to try to do it so that you can, boost your odds a little bit in your favor. So for this game, the money line for the Islanders is plus 205. The money line for the Hurricanes, the favorite, is minus 245. That means you have to bet $245 to win $100. Make sure you understand that right. On a minus 245, you have to bet 245 to win 100. So if you're betting with smaller numbers, you're going to have to bet 25 to win 10. It's kind of shitty, but that's how it goes on these heavy money lines in hockey. Now, the spread, if you want to take the Islanders plus 1.5 goal, that's minus 135. And then Carolina minus 1.5 goal plus 115. Now that's something I like because Hurricanes won 3-1 in game 1. So Hurricanes would have won, covered the spread. That'd be some plus money for you right there. Not a bad deal. But the way I like to play hockey is I like to take either the money line and the over or the point spread and the over. Or the under if you want to play it that way. But hockey totals are either 5.5 or 6.5 every day. Occasionally you'll have like maybe with that game 2, Winnipeg and Colorado, maybe the bookie tries to push it up to 7.5 because they scored 13 goals in a game. Maybe, but I doubt it. The trend that I have watched, I mean, I haven't documented this, so don't quote me on these numbers, but I would say 60% of the time, if the total for a hockey game is set at 5.5, it stays under 5. It stays under 5. And then once the total is 6.5, it's who knows, 50-50 all the time. So that's not a number that like you can get any insights on. The 5.5 it's a weird number, but here's what I'll say. If you like playing just a total or just an over under in the hockey game, look at it this way. If you bet the over 5.5, and let's say Carolina's up 3-2 in the last minute of the game, you know that the goalie is going to get pulled for the Islanders, so they're going to have an advantage and be a 6-on-5. But that means for the defense in Carolina, they've got an empty net at the opposite end. So just like what happened in that game the other day, the Islanders were trying to push. They were down 2-1. Hurricanes get the puck. They launch it down ice. They get an empty netter to make it 3-1. Now, I know in that game they stayed under the total. But let's say in this game, you're sitting at 3-2. Last minute of the game, Hurricanes get possession. Brett Burns flicks it out, goes in the net. They win 4-2, and you hit the over 5.5 in the last 10 seconds. That's how I like to play it. Look for the 5.5s, and I also like to pair that. Like if I'm going to bet a 5.5, I like to see a game that the two teams played previously where the total was under, because it just makes me feel like the next game they're going to score more goals and it's going to be an over. So tonight, that's kind of how I'm going to play this game. I'm going to take the plus juice with the Hurricanes at the -1.5 goal for plus 115, and I'm going to pair that with the total goals over 5.5. Let me see. Let me load that up on DraftKings so I can show you what that pays out. Because I don't know what those two combos be together. Probably like a plus 250 or something. Let's see. Carolina minus the puck line and the over. Yeah, I get you a plus 246. So you put down 10, it'll get you 34 in return. It's not bad, not bad. Put a little hundo down, you get 346 back. Kind of cool. I like that. So yeah, give me the Hurricanes -1.5, and also give me the over 5.5. If you want to play them separately, go for it. But I'm going to combo it together. I'm going to try to make some money. Game 2 for the Maple Leafs and Bruins. Toronto is plus 120 on the money line. Boston is -140. Again, if you're betting Boston, you got to bet $140 to win $100 on the way back. If you're betting Toronto money line, $100 wins you $120. Nice math. Bam. The total is set at 5.5. The spread plus 1.5 for Toronto is -235. Jeez. And for Boston, -1.5 is plus 180. Holy. Dude, they won game 1 5-1. Oh man, that's enticing. I might pair the Canes and Islanders parlay with just Boston -1.5. What does that give me? Ooh! Ooh! That's an 8-1 right there. Oh, buddy. Yeah, we might be playing that, fellas and ladies, if there's any ladies out there. Yeah, so if you're wondering, Boston Bruins -1.5 goals. Carolina Hurricanes -1.5 goals. Carolina Hurricanes and Islanders over 5.5 total goals. That, ladies and gents, is a plus 868 on the bet ticket. That means that $10 will win you 96 coming back. I am betting that tonight. Best believe it. Boston is too good of a team. What did they do in the regular season? Okay, so Boston won all 4 games in the regular season. The first 2 games they did win both in overtime, so 3-2 and 4-3. So both of those games were tied entering overtime. I don't like that. But in games 3 and 4, which were played in March, Boston won both games 4-1, and they won 2 days ago 5-1. So yeah, the last 3 games that they've played the Maple Leafs, they have beat them by 3 goals, 3 goals, and 4 goals. They've outscored them by 10 goals in the last 3 games. Give me the fucking Bruins. Let's go. Make some money tonight. I hate saying go Bruins. God, that felt terrible. At 9:30, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights going up against the Dallas Stars. You already know what I'm going to do here. I gave it out in the playoff bracket preview. We're going to take the Vegas Golden Knights. Don't even mess with the spread. Just take Vegas on the money line plus 125. Take the over 5.5. And combo those 2 things together and go make yourself some money. And yes, Vegas won the series 3-0 in the regular season this year. They won 3-2 in overtime, 2-1 in overtime, and 6-1. Bam. Maybe don't take the over 5.5 because they've only hit that once against Dallas, but take the money line. Take the money line. Vegas Golden Knights. And then the last game of the night, we've got, I think, Kings and Oilers. Yep, game 1 of their series that has not started yet because they're fucking retarded. NHL, schedule your games better. Sorry. So here we go. LA Kings and Edmonton Oilers. LA on the money line is plus 150. The Edmonton is minus 175. Total is 5.5. The spread, if you're wondering, LA plus 1.5, minus 180. And for Edmonton, minus 1.5 goals is plus 150. This is going to be competitive. This is probably going to go 7 games. But Edmonton did win the regular season series 3-1. In December, they won 3-2. The Kings won the only matchup in February 4-0. And then the Oilers won the last 2 games 4-2 in February and 4-1 at the end of March, just about a month ago. So if you didn't follow along, the Edmonton Oilers, God, why do I keep saying that? Edmonton Oilers started out the season like 2-12. I mean, they were dead last. Everybody was saying, cut everybody, sell the team, trade whoever you need to trade to get some money back for these big contracts. And what did? They finished the season 49-27-6. They went on a 16-game win streak in the middle of the season. Not just overtime wins where you get 1 point. No, outright wins. 16 in a row. Like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Not like an overtime loss. Sorry, I said that wrong. You get the full points for the win, but you get 1 point for the loss in overtime. Sorry, said that wrong. Don't want to fuck up the hockey hockey gods or the hockey truthers out there. Sorry. But this Edmonton team is serious. Like, I think this is their year. Obviously, I like them to meet the Canes in the Cup and then lose. But, yeah, give me Edmonton. This one is this is tough. So I'm going to take the minus 175 on the money line, but I'm going to pair that with the over 5.5. No. I'm going to pair that with the under 5.5. I think this is going to be a tight game. And to back that up, this is the lowest number that I've seen today when I've been looking at this. But LA, their goals allowed per game is 2.56. That's the lowest that I've seen. Everything else was 2.6 or higher. So I like this to stay under that total of 5.5. All right, that wraps up today's show. I think that's all that I've got. I don't think I can talk anymore. I'm sick and tired of hearing my own voice. I don't know if you're tired of hearing my voice, but I'm sick and tired of hearing my voice. I've been talking for 1 hour straight right now. Good God Almighty. I need to go to the gym and lift some weights because that round of golf was not as good as I wanted it to be. So we're going to go lift some weights. We're then going to come back home and we're going to binge watch as much basketball and hockey as humanly possible before I have to go to work tomorrow on Tuesday. So thank you very much. I appreciate you if you've sat here and listened to me talk for this long. It has to be obnoxious for you because I've been listening to my own voice and it's obnoxious to me. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm probably going to go not talk for the next 2 hours so I can recover and just get my own voice out of my head. But I appreciate you for listening if you've been listening this long. Again, my name is Jay Steele. This is Steele Talkin Sports. I will be back next week. We'll talk some more basketball. We'll talk some more hockey. Maybe I'll talk college basketball transfer portal and football portal with the 5,000 players that have changed schools. I can't even keep up. God almighty. It's crazy. It's like constant NCAA free agency that is allowed is obnoxious. Like, NCAA, get it together. This transfer portal is obnoxious. We can't keep track of who plays at what school because 4 days later they might transfer to another school. Jesus. But thank you very much. Again, my name is Jay. This is Steele Talkin Sports. I'll be back next time. Shake and bake.
Shake and bake.